Ladies and gentlemen, it is great privilege for me to open the competitiveness stage. I'm really glad that we will have an opportunity to discuss the challenging situation of the European industry. The debate on the new industrial order in the European Union has recently become the key focus of attention for both political leaders and the management boards of the European industry. Strengthening the resilience of the European industry has never been more important, and immediate action are needed to address challenges faced by European business in the context of global competitive pressure. We know the goal. The goal set by the EU is clear to us: decarbonization of the industry. However, the key question remains how to combine climate targets with two other vital goals: ensuring the competitiveness of European business and security of supply. Our discussion here will aim at assessing different paths and measures to reach the best effects in all these aspects. We are glad that the European Commission has already initiated the discussion about the situation of the EU industry in the context. We have to be aware that global market players are not waiting for Europe. They are active in order to take over our market shares, our workplace, and our social welfare. We can't blame them. It is natural that each economy plays for itself. It is our European responsibility to take into account the global factors that affect competitiveness of EU business. We need to adopt and be clear about the fact that decarbonization policies need urgent revision in order to save our economy. The planned review of the ETS system will provide an excellent testing ground in this respect. Energy transition measures must also take into account security of supplies. Energy security should be understood as both physical continuity of supplies and delivery of goods at reasonable prices. It is therefore crucial to strike the right balance between climate goals and energy affordability in the regulatory policies and economic impact related to them. It is essential that at the end of the day, we do not leave anybody behind, reduce energy poverty, and do not let emission leakage out of the EU to happen. To sum up this introduction, I would like to declare that we are ready to commit to support all actions needed in order to adopt requirements dedicated to EU industry. This is the final call for specific action and legal instruments aimed at keeping industry in Europe. Otherwise, we will face the reality of the deindustrialization. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you once again for joining us here at Business and Science Poland venue. I'm sure that the panel discussion will be productive. Thank you very much.
Welcome, Boris Budka.
We must compete with all the world. We've got global competitors, but I do believe in Europe, I do believe in our industry, in our business. But of course the role of politician is not to make mistakes, not to force regulations which are not clever, which are not for business, which sometimes are too, let's call it, ideological. I think that it is time for the real business, because without the tough industry, without the real business, it is not possible to have the strong Europe. We will be strong if we are strong in economy. We base the European Union, the member states, based on democracy, human rights, but of course we need strong European economy to survive in this very wild world today.
Let's talk about how we do that then, and particularly from your perspective, what you are dealing with. The subject of this panel that we are about to have is about decarbonisation and competitiveness and keeping those together. Two things that people don't always think of together, or sometimes cannot thrive simultaneously. So given your position And given actually everything you've just said, what legislations, what policies, what have you got that you think are the right ones to help us both decarbonise and be competitive?
Yeah, it won't be a surprise for our audience, of course, and our dear guests, because this is this European Competitiveness Fund, of course, and we discuss it. It is, I got here the paraphrase from the Lord of the Rings. So this is, like the one ring, but it is so powerful, this ring, that is the key for the rest regulations. So of course we discuss what in fact is competitiveness, but of course we must remember not to make mistakes. For instance, we did in Horizon, that we need this geographical balance also in this fund, because we can be strong as a Europe when we are together, when we can use this fund in the biggest European players, the biggest European markets, but also when we use this money in each country, from Portugal to Estonia, from Finland to Cyprus, because we will be strong as we really create a single market when we have this real cooperation. Yesterday we were discussing in the other event, this was the beauty industry, but of course the problems are the same, that sometimes too much regulation can destroy even the best, the flagship companies in Europe. So I'm a politician, but it's not a problem for me to say that we did mistakes in the past. It is easier for me because it's the first time I'm here in Brussels for today, so this is the new mandate. But I think that it is something we change our minds to say, yes, we did a mistake, and our role is not to make this mistake again. Let's learn on our own mistakes, let's change our policies. And this is, for instance, we know what we did in Europe with automotive sectors, yes? Now we want to rebuild it, but we did, unfortunately, a lot of bad things here. So it's time to say, okay, let's learn on it, take the lesson, and in the future we can't make it again.
It was super interesting.
Decarbonisation. So this is first.
The ETS brings quite a lot of revenues.
The regulation. Yes, I can see hands, right? Yes, you're not the only one.